We know where he is and he's safe wherever he is. And then that's why now we are taking this move where the Director of Public Prosecution in Mpumalanga has now filed this application.
And did he give reasons in terms of why he did not make appearance in court this week?
Yes, he did give the reasons, and those, among others, is the fact that he wasn't feeling safe. And among the things that were said was the fact that he was informed, reliably so, that they wanted to terminate his life, among.
It did not take taxi tycoons Joe Ferrari Sibanyoni and Bafana Sindane more than 24 hours to have a celebration of grandeur after the case was struck off the roll this week. But now it looks like the magistrate who struck their case off the roll might be in hot water.
Yes, we have been saying all along throughout the week that we are looking at options that we need to deal with this matter. And now today we have filed a leave of appeal to appeal this order, especially the part that related to the prosecutor where he was found or convicted in absentia. And therefore the warrant of arrest was then put against him. Therefore we have now today moved to appeal that, so that we then are saying that because we have now appealed automatically, the order will be suspended until this matter is heard. And then we have also asked from the magistrate written reasons on why decisions were made. And those decisions, written grounds, are going to be used when we go to the next step, because as we speak, we have already appointed a senior counsel to look into the other order, especially the one that relates to striking the matter of the roll in using Section 342A of the Criminal Procedure Act. Therefore, what we have now moved to do that, and then the next step will be after we have consulted with the senior counsel that we've appointed on how to deal with the other part.
And in the last few hours, in fact, since the beginning of the week, South Africans have been left gobsmacked. It has been a lot. Even worse in the last few hours when news broke that a prominent politician, a member of parliament, allegedly interfered with the case. But how did we even get here? Well, let's take it back. All the way back to the core of what we are dealing with here.
You see, Honorable Member Cameron, that's a dangerous world. A dangerous world.
Which one?
The taxi industry. It's a dangerous world. Too many people we have lost there. People die there. As I was saying, you sit here, I talk with you like this, and the next day,
In this video, former Minister of the Police Bheki Cele puts into words what most South Africans know very well. And this is something that government appears to not have control over. The taxi industry. It is known to operate with maximum fear. There is violence. There are threats to human life that get carried out.
In 2021, a wave of taxi-related hits sent checkpoint to Mpumalanga.
Izinto ziyenzeka, mara akuna any action ethathwako.
Central to allegations was
Joe Ferrari.
this rebroadcast reveals a man once feared even by police.
Yes or no, you have instituted any sort of investigations into Joe Sibanyoni?
I decline to speak along those lines.
And we can go into the history of why the taxi industry operates in this manner. But the point of this part is to put into perspective the nature of the suspects in this case. These are taxi tycoons. People who have been in this industry for years. And most of us only read about the extent of the violence that they are able to carry out when they are threatened. And the point of this part is not to paint Joe and his co-accused as guilty of anything. But this is just to bring into context the kind of case that is in front of us. Again, these are taxi tycoons, very wealthy ones, who have intense experience in the taxi industry. And as the former police minister mentioned, the taxi world is dangerous. And for people like State Prosecutor Mkhuseli Ntaba, this was his reality since 2 weeks ago when he came face to face in court with people whom his job required him to send to jail for a long time. In November 2025, a businessman opened a case of extortion against taxi bosses Joe, Bafana Sindane, Mvimbi Masilela, and Philemon Msiza. He told the police in Kwaggafontein that this group of men, who are known to travel with heavily armed men and operate in one of the most dangerous industries in the country, are extorting him. He told the police that over the past few months, they have been allegedly extorting money from him on numerous occasions, and he paid them 2.2 million rand. This was allegedly a protection fee. He told News24 that he feels like he is working so hard while they just come, intimidate and threaten him, and then take all his profits. So the police opened the case and they arrested them. And in court, the case was assigned to State Prosecutor Mkhuseli Ntaba. And if you have watched the court proceedings, you would have noted that from the get-go, this case was given big case from the beginning. First, the police had to get the help of the special task team in order to make the arrests because this was classified as high-risk arrests. And immediately after the arrest, while Joe and his co-accused were in police custody, Kwaggafontein came to a standstill. According to reports by Sowetan newspaper, the street where the police station is was a show-off of something the locals are not used to. The street was filling up in just a matter of hours after Joe's arrest. It was packed with members of various taxi associations, Joe and his co-accused family members, and their friends. The street was said to be beaming with luxury cars, Ferraris, Range Rovers, and the likes. It was said to look like Monaco right in Kwaggafontein as masses of the taxi tycoons associates came to support them. And before the case even got to court, we learned that Joe was not playing around here. His lawyer is Shaun Abrahams. This man is a seasoned advocate. He is the former head of the National Prosecuting Authority. He served as the country's National Director of Public Prosecutions from 2015 to 2018. So this man knows how prosecutions work even in his sleep. And I'm sure he did not even wait for his invoice payment to hit his bank account. By the looks of things, Shaun got to work before Joe even left his house in that police van with the special task force.
Quiet. Completely silent.
But surely this should be concerning as future sabotage as well.
Absolutely. From a professional perspective, it's unacceptable. From a collegiality perspective, it's unacceptable. We'll talk in court again. Please excuse me.
Are you optimistic of bail? Are you optimistic of bail?
My client is waiting. Excuse
Thank
me.
you very much. Of course, that's Advocate Shaun Abrahams speaking to us there. Yusuf, maybe let me just bring you in. A reaction from, of course, Mr. Abrahams saying that the MPA has been completely silent, not giving them the necessary attention as well as they continue to walk inside the court while my colleague Teddy follows them.
Indeed, what we just heard from Advocate Shaun Abrahams is that the state is not communicating at all. They're not even clear what the charges against the accused is. We know that the police have said officially it's a charge of extortion amounting to about 2 million rand. There was also talk, Pule, of another suspect that the state was looking for, and the police have just told us that that particular suspect has promised that he'll hand himself over here at the court building this morning.
Yeah.
So now the matter gets to court and you have watched the proceedings and you are more on the serious side of life. I'm sure you're very disturbed by the accused demeanors in court. The men were some sort of celebrities in court. They wore sunglasses in court and they seemed to be doing prohibited things like brought water bottles and juices in court. And with all that said, this case still relied heavily on one man. And at this particular juncture, this man is State Prosecutor Mkhuseli Ntaba. And let's forget that this man sought to protect this country by the virtue of his job title. And remember that we are dealing with a man, one man. And let's start by maybe putting ourselves in his shoes. Mkhuseli, who I am sure has worked on multiple cases before, has probably not dealt with this kind of case before. Or with the exception of taxi tycoons, the Ntaba brothers, and the Nzimande brothers who are in court here and there in KwaZulu-Natal, and another taxi tycoon, Vusi Keke, who was on trial, Kwaggafontein has not seen a case of the Taxi Association on trial before. And outside of the fact that Mkhuseli has to go head in head with the man who was once his boss, Shaun Abrahams, Mkhuseli's main issue is his own person. What former Minister Begicele was stressing, the danger that lurked inside that courtroom.
Allow me to just take you back to that incident in Kwaggafontein. You will have seen that part of the dominant interpretation of the events that occurred suggests that this is not mere prosecutor dereliction or delinquents. Perhaps you're dealing with something more sinister.
Right.
And people are openly saying that perhaps the prosecutor was threatened.
Mkhuseli indicated to court that he is someone who travels long distances to and from court, and he was putting this on the record to also indicate the human factor involved in this case. He also mentioned that he does his own paperwork. He mentioned that he has multiple other cases that he is working on. On the 2 days that the court was in session, he arrived late. And according to reports, Mkhuseli also went as far as indicating to the court that he is not available on certain days because he has other matters. And most importantly, Mkhuseli reportedly told the court that he was not feeling safe. And with all these factors, and the biggest one being a threat to human life, the court somehow still managed to ignore everything. And there are a lot of elements which needed to be looked into here. And I need to stress that I keep saying Mkhuseli was one man because this was clearly the case when every organ of state that commented on this case in their authority as state entities, including the Department of Justice and the NPA spokesperson Mthunzimanga, literally put the entire case on Mkhuseli. And for us to get some context, in cases like these, ordinarily the prosecutor would receive maximum protection from his employers, not the opposite. The kind of support he was supposed to have received from the onset is personal security protection from the police or the VIP protection unit. He was supposed to have secure transport to and from court. He was supposed to have protection at his home and additional courtroom security, including heavily armed police presence.
We do know that prosecutors are not above the law. I will not deal with the issues of the case of Especially Mbata that my colleague has dealt with. But critically, I want to emphasize that in that case, the court was clear that prosecutors are officers of the court, and they bear a constitutional responsibility to ensure a fair administration of justice. Now, failure of a prosecutor to obey a court order ought to and must constitute a serious breach that triggers contempt. A finding of contempt, of course, will require that the mother immediately comes in and says, my lady will find different alternatives. He's a young man, and I believe without being his lawyer, he will learn better. This is not how things happen. And I say so with absolute regard to a court that has taken time to be here under extreme circumstances and time frames, and the prosecutor elects not to be here.
And if the case is extreme, he was supposed to get cyber security and monitoring of threats of intimidation, coordination with specialized units like the Hawks for organized crime matters, and in this case, this would be one of those. It is not yet clear if he received any of these at this point, but according to the statements we have been finished with so far, it appears that Mkhuseli was one man in this case, the case of this magnitude. And we also know this because if he had more support, I'm sure they would have been able to get hold of him on the day through the people that were assigned around him. But nevertheless, the case was back in court on Monday, May 18. And as you might know, the case was struck off the roll because Mkhuseli was not in court on the day. And following this, he was slapped with a contempt of court order and a warrant of his arrest was also issued.
And I'm inclined, therefore, as I do now, strike the matter off the roll in terms of Section 342A, subsection 3C.
Mr. Court, please.
As he pleased your court, Yorkshire.
Court is adjourned.
And Joe Ferrari Sibanyoni, Bafana Sindane, Mvimbi Masilela, and Philemon Msiza were released.
How do you feel?
Well, I was always positive today's matter. But all the time, everything is alright. you saw, man. There's no charges, man. My lawyer will talk to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
And then the celebrations started. But this right here, this was not it. Shortly after this, there was an uproar. South Africans pointed out that it appears that the law was not followed fairly here. They say the case was prematurely withdrawn, even after the prosecutor was on the record and stated that he felt unsafe. So the NPA head, Ndimo TB, took over the case. He told the country that Mkhuseli had indicated that he was under a threat of sorts. He mentioned that with that, the NPA would be investigating what really happened in court and with this case.
Allow me to just take you back to that incident in Kwaggafontein. You will have seen that part of the dominant interpretation
also hit another point on Friday night, May 22, when the NPA revealed they would be taking the prosecutor's case on appeal. They say they will appeal his contempt of court judgment and also appeal his warrant of arrest verdict. They also mentioned that they are looking into options on how to reinstate the case.
Yes, we have been saying all along throughout the week that we are looking at options that we need to deal with this matter. And now today we have filed a leave of appeal to appeal this order, especially the part that related to the prosecutor where he was found or convicted in absentia, and therefore the warrant of arrest was then put against him. Therefore, we have now today moved to appeal that so that we then are saying that because we have now appealed automatically, the order will be suspended until this matter is heard. And then we have also asked from the magistrate written reasons on why decisions were made. And those decisions, written grounds, are going to be used when we go to the next step, because as we speak, we have already appointed a senior counsel to look into the other order, especially the one that relates to striking the matter of the roll using section 342A of the Criminal Procedure Act. Therefore, what we have now moved to do that, and then the next step will be after we have consulted with the senior counsel that we've appointed on how to deal with the other part.
Yeah, and Mr. Kanyako, earlier this week, we saw the prosecutor there, Mkhuseli Ntaba, not appearing for that bail application. Have you located him? Do we know his whereabouts now?
No, definitely we do. We have indicated on Tuesday that he met with the DPP in Mpumalanga, and we know where he is, and he's safe wherever he is. And then that's why now we are taking this move where the Director of Public Prosecution in Mpumalanga has now filed this application.
And did he give reasons in terms of why he did not make appearance in court this week?
Yes, he did give the reasons, and those, among others, is the fact that he wasn't feeling safe. And among the things that were said was the fact that he was informed, reliably so, that they wanted to terminate his life, among.
And this is an indication that something is wrong here. And as we were watching, news broke on the same day through ENCA and senior journalist Mzilikazi wa Africa that the complainant in this case, the businessman, allegedly received a call from a prominent member of parliament on Tuesday. He allegedly told him to drop the case and that he would be paid very well if he does.
Yes, what we saw when we got to court last week, Wednesday, at the first court appearance, it will seem that the prosecutors were not really with the matter. But they wanted to oppose bail, so they asked for a postponement for 7 days. So it was quite unusual that the people who want to oppose bail are not ready to oppose it. So they asked for 7 days. You will also remember also on Friday they did the same delaying tactic, asking for postponement for further 7 days. But today the very same prosecutor, including the investigating officer, who were supposed to be at court at 8 o'clock this morning, they failed to appear to prosecute the matter. So it tells you that the state was not only not ready, but the state realizes that they did not have any case against the accused.
And at this point, the part about the politician is still high allegations. But who is this member of parliament and why would they do that while the country is in a fragile state of fighting corruption? Let's talk in the comments. What are your thoughts on this case? Thank you so much for watching. Please stay safe. I will see you on the next one.